Welcome to the third video in our series on participatory, community-engaged evaluation. In earlier videos, we discussed authentic engagement of and collaboration with program participants and community members and building trust and relationships as described by Children's Bureau discretionary grant recipients and their project partners. Here, we focus on the next building block, co-designing and co-leading an evaluation.
So at Brighton Center, we truly believe that families know their situation best and that they are the experts in identifying what tools and resources are going to benefit their families. So our approach is never to work upon families, but to work with them. And we do that through utilizing a two-gen approach in all of our services. When we looked at that aspect of systemic change and the challenges of systemic change that this grant is asking us to do, we recognize that the experiences of families are key to the progress of this grant. So what this meant for us is that we have to shift power to families to the point where they're not just participating, but they're co-producing strategies with us.
So we had a couple of different strategies that were intended to facilitate those kinds of conversations where with really two aims. We wanted the community to drive the initiative to what are we building and how do we get there? That should be led by the community, and it also should be informed by data. So we wanted to have the conversations where they could take the lead and also bring the data to the table for that conversation and use that to form community priorities that are shared and values that are shared.
We came up with a lot of new ways of collecting data, tracking data, because it was the way that would work for everybody on our team. And we co-designed a lot of those methods. And we tried things out that didn't work for the team. And so we created something new. And we were always open to that and not bringing, this has worked for us in the past. And so we're going to impose this on this group, but instead, we're going to create this system together along the way.
And I think it was really important in our approach to ground everybody in the theory of change and then help us all understand what that meant. But we really tore that theory of change and logic model apart into its real basic components. What does this mean? And how are we going to know that it actually happened? Those outputs and those proximal outcomes in the theory of change. And then getting everybody's brain engaged around how are we going to know? We're going to implement this activity to try to get to this outcome, but how are we going to know that we've achieved that? What are we going to look at on a regular basis?
We see those individuals as the knowledge experts that can inform the evaluation process as to what questions we need to ask in order to get a more comprehensive and informed and meaningful understanding of what the need is of the community members, especially the caregivers and the parents of children within the households that we're going to be served.
They are the folks that go out and share and get the message out and hand out flyers and do all the things. And so some of them continue to reach out to me about how can I do this? Where can I help with that? Can I meet you and get more of those things? And so they have been some of the biggest cheerleaders, if you will, about the work that's being done too, because they feel it and see it. And so that makes a huge difference, that they are owning it and getting it out as well.
We could set a performance target or some expectation that everyone's going to score 80 out of 100 on something in order to be returned the data. And we've scored 60 out of 100 on something. And the community and the steering committee, because they understand their context and understand what their values are, might say, for our community, that actually makes a lot of sense to us. So I think we're getting better results. And I think all of those things, better measures, better targets, better results, all of that is leading to more actionable next steps.